Let me bring up our next speaker. You guys can have a seat if you want to. My favorite book is Unstoppable. That means that my favorite author is Cynthia Kersey, and she's going to deliver our keynote here. Cynthia has been known as one of the world's greatest motivators. The subtitle of this book, by the way, is 45 Powerful Stories of Perseverance and Triumph from People Just Like You. I use it every morning, seriously, literally. Every morning I read a story out of this book to motivate me. Cynthia is also a philanthropist. Her Unstoppable Foundation has empowered over 500,000 lives in Kenya with her 5-pillar model of leadership. She's written this book. She's also written a book called Unstoppable Women. And she has a new forthcoming book called Generosity. And we're all going to get a sample of that today. That's the topic of her talk. So please help me welcome Cynthia Kersey.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Are you all still with me? Yes? Thank you, Greg. Well, first off, wow, what a group of unstoppable people. And Greg, I mean, look what he went through, and we're all still here. So big shout out to him and to all the great work that you're doing. So my new book is called The Generosity Effect. And so I'm going to talk to you today and share something that I don't know if people really think of it in this kind of context. And there is a simple practice that can generate more happiness, more health, more fulfillment. Your teenagers, their depression goes down. They connect more with others. It's like a superpower in relationships. And what I think is really important about today is how this practice brings people together. Instead of seeing you as the other, I see you as me. And what is that superpower? It is, there you go, generosity. Generosity. And I got kind of turned on to generosity in 1999. And what happened was I was going through a very significant change in my personal life. I went to my parents' house for Christmas. My son was with me. He was then a teenager at that point. And 2 days before that, my 20-year marriage ended. We decided to divorce. So, we're thinking this is going to be a family reunion. And instead of me being in the kitchen helping cook dinner, I'm like up in my bedroom with a box of Kleenex. So, it was really challenging. It was devastating. And when I got back home, I called my mentor, Millard Fuller, who's the founder of Habitat for Humanity. Oh, one thing, let me step back. One thing when I was at my house, I got this message. I kept thinking this one thing. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing next Christmas, but I'm not going to be at my mom and dad's house feeling sorry for myself. This is a one and done, right? And I'm going to do something for someone else. That was the thought that I had. And I didn't know what it was. I got home. I called my mentor. I told him what had happened. Like I said, the founder of Habitat for Humanity. And what he said to me, I will never forget. He said, when you have a great pain in your life, you need a greater purpose. Now, I was living my purpose. I had quit my job, cashed in my entire life savings, downsized my life, left a big corporate job to write my book, Unstoppable. So I was inspiring people to live unstoppable lives, and I'm so grateful you were motivated by it. But you know what? That was not bigger than the pain I was going through. And so he had just gotten back from Nepal, and he told me how extraordinary this place was, and yet it's one of the most impoverished nations in the world. And he said, you can build a house for a family in need for $2,000. I'm thinking, really? And so I thought, how many houses would I need to build to offset this pain in my life? Now, I thought, I don't know, I've never built any. So maybe 5. No. 15. No. 50. 50 houses? No. It wasn't until I got to the number 100 houses that felt bigger than my pain. Now, mind you, I'm now a single mom living on a brand new book, on the royalties of a brand new book. That's not a lot of money. I didn't have a big community. I didn't know a lot of people that had a lot of money, but I had a purpose that was bigger than my pain. So I didn't know how to fundraise, so I talked to my friend Bob Proctor. I don't know if you know him. He's a leader, in personal development, incredible being. And I said, how do I do this? And he said, oh, it's simple. You just find 10 people to donate $20,000 and you're done. And I'm thinking, that doesn't sound simple to me. I don't know one person that's got $20,000. Except Bob Proctor was standing right in front of me. So, and it takes courage, but I had to muster every ounce of courage. But I said, would you be willing to be the first to donate $20,000? He told me later, and he tells this story a lot, but he told me later that he almost fell out of his chair when I asked him that question. But he said it changed his life. And so when I was up on stage talking about being unstoppable, I simply invited, Mary Morrissey calls it, feel invited, not obligated. I think the worst kind of an ask you can do for a fundraiser is guilt people into giving money or making them feel, obligated. That's not inspiring. So I simply presented the opportunity and people wanted to get behind it, and I raised $200,000 that year. And I got a group of 18 people, and we went to Nepal. Oh, here we are. Hold on. There you go. Oh, this is the group. We went to Nepal, and we built the foundations for the first 3 of the 100 homes that were built. And one of the things that I really got, one of the first key insights about generosity is that I thought I was doing something great for them, right? And it changed my life. I went through the hardest year of my life, and it turned the lights back on in my heart. I was inspired. I realized, I can contribute still. I'm not done. And I know that might sound a little dramatic, but it was a big thing going through that divorce of 20 years. And so literally that's one of the joys of generosity is I realized, it is a blessing for us. We're blessed to be a blessing to other people. So, this is another key piece of it. So that year, I made more money selling a $14.95 book. It's now $19.95. They raised the price. But $15 book than I did at corporate America earning a 6-figure income. Now, how is that possible? And so I got very curious about how is that possible, because it wasn't my intention, it wasn't my focus, but it is what happened. And I realized that giving activates receiving. And when you think about the scripture, given it shall be given, every spiritual tradition talks about this at some level, that giving benefits the giver. It's kind of of course it benefits the receiver, but the truth is it actually, I personally think and have experienced, it's a more profound impact on the person who's giving. And not only do spiritual teachers and traditions have they talked about the power of giving for how many, thousands of years, now there's all this science behind generosity. And there have been decades of studies, hundreds of studies, that prove generosity is the most potent force on the planet. So, what is generosity? It's essentially loving kindness, showing loving kindness. And it truly can change the world. I mean, imagine what we're all doing here, and it's really a way of being. It's not you're going to do something different now after, well, you might do it differently, but you're still engaged in what you're committed to in the world. But when we activate giving, and I'm going to talk about how ways that you can do it, certainly ways that I did it and what happened to me, it really can change your life. And it makes you feel high. Anybody ever felt high or euphoric when you gave? Okay, I have to see hands. Thank you. Has anybody not ever felt euphoric or high after giving? No? Okay, this is a great opportunity. Thank you for raising your hand. No, that's not a shaming no. It's just like, wow. It's just like I'm so turned on by it. So that's really just the distinction of it. Because it's like, yeah, the whole presentation we're going to be talking about it. But literally, we can feel euphoric and high when we give. It's like, it's just an extraordinary thing. And Alan Lux actually termed the phrase helper's high. So literally 50% of people, when they do something, they actually feel euphoria. What else can you do when you think about it that gives you that? It's certainly not drinking or other things that people do, right, to feel high or whatever. I don't even know. But this is something that really can change us forever. To the point that just witnessing an act of generosity inspires us. Just seeing someone doing good, whether it's like opening the door, giving them your seat, smiling. There's a term called moral elevation. I just learned this. I hadn't heard about it just like a year ago. Moral elevation is literally when you see good work, it inspires, like I said, it inspires you to do good. And when I see you do something, it's like the bridge. This is really the bridge that can bring us together. Because when we're generous, even when somebody isn't acting maybe in a way that we think is appropriate, or maybe we don't believe the way that they believe, or that, they don't eat the same food we eat as Maya Angelou talked about, but when we can see the other person, God in that other person, and not see them as the other, but from a heart, a generous heart, it changes things and it changes communities. So here's a little bit, it's a long slide, but it's important and I wanted to share it. Pioneering studies find that moral elevation doesn't just make you feel good, like Helper's High. It actually encourages more compassion and generosity. It breaks down the barriers between people. Stories of goodness have the capacity to touch us all, filling us with hope for humanity and the sense we can do better. So this can be a part of a solution that we are experiencing in this country right now. So I'm very encouraged. I mean, there's so many benefits, but this is another one that I think is very powerful. So I'm going to share a story. This is Hilda Back. When she was a little girl, her family was able to escape Nazi Germany because of the generosity of a stranger. And it saved their lives. And she always wanted to pay it forward and help somebody else. And so years went by. She became a teacher. And she heard about an organization that supported children in Kenya to get an education. And she thought, oh, I want to do that. I can do that. So she committed to paying his school fees every single month. It was like $30-some a month. And she thought, this isn't really much, right? It's like a ripple. It's nothing. But it made her feel good, and she felt great to be able to help a child. Now, this is the child she was helping. His name's Chris Maburu, and he lived in, came from an impoverished community in Kenya. His family lived on $1 a day, and the only thing that could keep him in school, because he studied hard, he worked hard, but money for those school fees was the only thing to ensure he could stay in school, and he so wanted a different life for his family. Hilda Back was that person. And like I said she thought it was a drop in the bucket. And because of her consistent generosity, he not only was able to go to school and high school and, graduate from college, but he went to Harvard Law School. Harvard Law School. And today he is a practicing attorney. He's a voice for children who have no voice. And he was so inspired by the generosity of this woman he had never met. He started a foundation called the Hilda Back Foundation. And he's like, I've got to find this woman. I have got to let her know how my life has been changed as a result. So he hunted her down, and he found her in Sweden. Isn't that the sweetest picture? I love that. And he didn't find this rich woman. He thought, oh my gosh, she's rich, right? She was a teacher. She'd retired. She lived in a simple apartment. But she had a heart of gold. And he said, Hilda, thank you so much. You don't know what you've done. Not only have you changed my life, but there are 950 other students now that have scholarships and are in school because you inspired me to do the same thing. Here they are. Here's just some of them. But that's the power of generosity. It's the magic of generosity, right? It's the ripple effect. When we change, she didn't set out to change 1,000 kids. She did what hers was to do, right? She felt leaning into, I want to help this person. And it created this ripple effect that she'll never know. None of us will ever really know what that ripple effect is. But that's one of the great things about generosity is when you change one life, it could be 100, 1,000, 1,000,000, right? Cammie Walker, great example of this. When she was 30, she had just gotten married. She had just gotten back from her honeymoon. And she wakes up and her hands are tingly and she can't see out of one of her eyes. So they take her to the hospital. She was after tests. She was diagnosed as having multiple sclerosis, and it was like a very fast activating condition, and her life started spiraling down. She was in pain. She was in and out of the hospital, and she called a friend, Mabali, who's also her spiritual teacher, and I think she wanted a little pity party, right? So I'm going to call her and, somebody feel bad for me. I'm really having a hard time, which is understandable. So she calls her friend, and her friend says, Cammie, you've got to stop focusing on your problem. You got to stop focusing on it because it's getting bigger. And she said, I have a prescription for you. I want you to give away a gift every day for 29 days. Doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be big. It could be a prayer. It could be a kind word. But that's the prescription. And Cammie's like, are you serious? Do you say I'm in the hospital, right? I'm on pain meds. You're telling me that simply by being generous, that's going to make a big deal? And Mabali said, just try it. I tried it. It made a big difference in my life. Just try it. So she did. She said, okay, I don't think it's going to make it worse. So she did. And the first day she called a friend who also had multiple sclerosis, and her husband was traveling, and she called her just to kind of be there. And as she did little acts of kindness, she said she changed very quickly. Like things started changing emotionally, even physically. She was able to start walking again. And after 29 days of doing this, she ends it with this big thing with her husband. She walked, I think it was a mile, like this big, huge thing, right? Celebrating. It changed her life, and this is the key. She said it was a miracle for her. Because, again, she felt like my life is over. The life I knew is no longer here. And she realized that what she had and she created was even better. She created a whole thing around this. She's got a book, 29 Gifts. Love this book. So this is the question. If generosity is so powerful and has so many benefits, why do you think people don't practice it as regularly as one might think? What do you think? What's that? Scarcity, that's exactly right. It's kind of like, oh, if I give you this, if I give you this lead, if I share with you this opportunity, that means it's taking from me. And it's the opposite. Generosity generates more. Oops, there we are. So in 2010, I was at a crossroad in my life, right? And I'm doing my speaking business, my unstoppable coaching, but I wasn't really inspired by it. I wanted to teach people about generosity. Like, I loved that. But I'm thinking, how am I going to earn money teaching people how to give? That was, again, scarcity, right? Like, oh no, I can't step into that. I'm not going to be able to support myself. So I read Gay Hendricks' book, The Big Leap, and he talked about find your genius, what you're good at, and what you love, and the intersection of that is what you should do. So I thought, fine, I'm going to take the leap. I'm going to leave my business. I want to start a foundation. I had wanted to do that for so long, but I was too afraid. So I had lunch with a friend, and I told her what I wanted to do, and she said, oh, I want to help. So she and several other friends came together, helped me start my foundation, the Unstoppable Foundation. And what happened was that being generous, it built more faith, right? It gave me the courage to step out and do it. So what happened was I did an experiment. This is before then, actually. But I decided that I wanted to know what it was like to live a whole year, every single day, being generous. And I considered myself a generous person, but it wasn't a habitual way of being. So these are the 4 habits that developed out of my year of giving. Very simple and very life-changing, okay? The first is start your day with gratitude. How many people do that now? Yeah, awesome. And one little addition to that is like start your day with gratitude and why, right? Because I don't know if you're like me, but the list sometimes it's the same. My husband, my dogs, there's all these things. And it's like why? And when you feel the why, you feel it in your heart. It activates, it raises our vibration. Habit number 2, be generous with myself. So I started with my spiritual practice. I worked out. I ate healthy. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, I mean, you guys are world changers. And you got to take care of yourself, right? If you're going to help change the world, we've got to take care of ourselves. Number 3, be generous with someone else. So I had the question was always, how can I be a blessing? How can I bless somebody else? And again, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be, tipping the bill or giving a good tip or whatever. It doesn't matter. But it's habitual. It's a way of being. It's actually, for me, a spiritual practice. Oh, like when I was normally when I travel, I actually, believe it or not, I'm more of an introvert. And I don't like talking a lot when I'm, in the Uber and stuff. But this time, I made it a point to ask my Uber driver, what does he love? And he actually he's a performer, street performer, and he started singing to me, and I was like giggling with delight. And I'm talking about it now still, right? It was a highlight of that trip, and I raised money for the foundation. But that's what I remember. And he felt good. I acknowledged him. I felt good.
And the
Oh, here it is.
flames higher, and it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire, the ring of fire.
You can hear me laughing. I'm just like
into
giggling.
a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire, the ring of fire.
There you go. So sweet. It was just so sweet. So the 4th, this is really critical, is to generously receive. And this is key because it's like the circle of generosity. Guess what? We're in the circle. How many people feel a whole lot more comfortable being the giver than the receiver? It can be really uncomfortable. But you know what? We're blocking the flow of good. When we are generous, we're activating the good that's going to come back to us. We don't know where it's going to come, but it's going to come. So we have to be really great at receiving. Mother Teresa said, a beggar came to her one day and he said, everybody gives you money for other people. I want to give you something. And he said, I was able to get 10 pence today. And she thought, oh, wow. If I take the money, he could go to bed without eating. If I don't, it will hurt him. And she humbly took the money, and she said the joy on his face was greater than anybody that donated money to her foundation. That's the power. When we don't receive, not only are we blocking the good, but we're taking away the opportunity for somebody else to be blessed. So on a scale, if we had more time, I would go much deeper into this, but I want you just to start thinking about it. When somebody gives you a compliment, when they're like, oh, here, do this, get in front of me, whatever, notice your reaction. Oh, no, it's nothing. This whole thing. Yeah, right, whatever, right? So my 4 key lessons for my year of generosity is, number 1, generosity generates heaven on earth. What do I mean by that? It's like when you are in gratitude every day, you're grateful. Your vibration, right, is high. When you're in gratitude, you're a high vibration. So your well-being, you feel great, you're joyful because you're taking those actions. Number 2, it generates faith, which is what I talked about. Now our foundation has impacted over 500,000 people. If I hadn't said yes to my friend that wanted to help me, and honestly, it was hard. I felt very humbled, but I said yes. And it wouldn't have happened. Generosity generates unexpected blessings. I was speaking, maybe it was a decade after that or something. Oh, no. Within a year, I'm speaking at a conference, and in the speaker table, there was this man back there, and we talked. We were in the same group, and I did my thing, and I went back, and I sat down, and he said, oh, wow, your speech was so good. He said, I've never heard anybody talk about generosity before like that. And he said, I was so inspired, I wrote a check to your foundation. And I thought, I like this guy. And plus, he had the most beautiful blue eyes I'd ever seen, truly. And he asked me for lunch. We ended up dating. He lived in Washington. I lived in L.A. But I knew he was my partner. I had been single 10 years, and I wanted the quality of love, right? That we have the same values, the same things we care about. And he's my person. And we ended up getting married. I mean, I could go on and on and on of the things that happened. Oh, resilience. I'm getting close to ending this. Resilience and grace. So a year ago, and this is my first time I've spoken since this happened. A year ago, I had to go in for emergency surgery. I was diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor, stage 4 glioblastoma. And basically, the doctors gave me no hope, like nothing. And but I'm in the hospital, and I'm literally doing this generosity practice. I'm like, what am I grateful for? And I just felt so grateful for everybody who took care of me, the texts that I got, the nurses. I just felt this gratitude. And I wanted to bless them. I wanted to give them, right? So I'm looking for thank you and smile and just connecting. And I received the love. I asked my friends to pray for me. And they put together a prayer group, and I had thousands of people praying for me. It was very uncomfortable. I mean, it was awesome, But to have people showing up week after week, it was hard. And you know what happened was they told me they were blessed to be a part of my journey, my authenticity. Sometimes I would show up on these calls and do nothing but cry. I'm like, oh, really inspiring, Cynthia. But this is the generosity effect. And not only did it get me through the most challenging year of my life, I'm happy to say it's been 1 year and I have 4 clear scans. I'm cancer-free. That is a miracle. It truly is. Anyway, it's a whole other longer story. But thank you, God. There was so much that I did, the generosity factor and faith. Like, I went deep. And you know this, Greg. When you experience something like losing your home, it's not business as usual. If you want to be a functioning person, contributing, you got to do the work. And it required a lot of me. And this is what I thought when I got cancer, when I got the diagnosis. This is an unexpected opportunity. That's what I thought. Because I thought, this can't be something that's just happening to me. There has to be good in this. And that's another thing that I kept looking for the good, looking for the good. I'm going to keep going because I'm almost done. And my girlfriend, she said, in my prayer group, she said, Cynthia, I got this hit. You're the designated survivor. So of all the people who get this, you're designated to survive, because I didn't want to just survive. I wanted to use it, right, for the greater good. And I think you're the designated survivor too. Think about that. I mean, it's a powerful thing to live into and to be called from. You are designated to be here in this moment for the good that you're doing and that you're called to do. And it's like one guy said, oh, well, that's kind of a big responsibility. I'm like, okay, yes, and we can do it. We have all that we need to do this. It's kind of like, look at all the resources that are here, the hope that was already presented. It's possible. So I don't know if this had the same meaning for you as it does for me. It's pretty profound. But start looking at yourself. When stuff happens, where's the unexpected opportunity here? Because I know it's there. And number 2, you're designated to survive, to be here, to contribute in your unique way. And then this is my final. What's yours to do? And you mentioned this, Greg. You said that your wife says that. That's part of my book, too. What's mine to do now? So as you're completing this conference today and tomorrow, what's yours to do? How can you be a blessing? How can you give to somebody else who's doing great work? How can you encourage somebody who maybe feels really, people are going through transition, financial challenges. I can guarantee you every single person here is going through something or will be in the near future. It's just how it works. And we are blessed to be the blessing. So what's yours to do on a meta level and on an individual day, a way of being? So these are the 4 steps. Start your day with gratitude. Live from gratitude, no matter what's happening. I don't care if I'm diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, incurable, they said, and I knew I was not a statistic. There was still a lot of good. A lot of good. And no matter what's happening right now, there's still a lot of good. So be generous with yourself. Be kind with yourself. Be generous with others and generously receive. Just open that heart and take all the good. C.C. Winans wrote a song, "The goodness of God is running after me." And I cry almost every time I hear that song. And I told my husband, I'm like, the goodness of God is running after me through Blaine Allen Bartlett. Because it's like, you can't even give somebody a higher compliment than that, right? But it's like the goodness of God is coming. We have to be open to graciously receive it because that's what equips us to continue. So finally, Greg graciously bought my book. First off, I'm happy to sign the book for you. So I'm here today and tomorrow, so please feel free when you get it. I'm happy to sign and would love to say hello. And then my book is, The Generosity Effect, is launching in the spring of 2026. So if you want to learn about the launch, and we'll be doing some free gifts that come with the launch, all I need is your name and your email at minimum, or a text too. That would be helpful. And I will let you know. And I just honestly, truly, I feel grateful and humbled to speak in such a group of incredible people. And Greg, you inspire me. You are unstoppable. And you've got an important work to do. And when we do it with love, not pushing, that's who I used to be, but with love and gratitude, you really are changing the world. It's happening right now. So I acknowledge all of you. I appreciate you. Many, many blessings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Two things. First, Minari made a comment earlier today that I don't think was translated well. He said that in addition to the innovation and the money that we need to invest in climate solutions, that we need to give the world space, because the world can solve its own challenges, right? There's a great documentary called The Year Earth Changed that showed when COVID hit and we stopped going on cruise ships and we stopped flying planes, that amazing things happened in the world. The little turtles started reproducing at greater levels, and this one guy in the amazing scene stood on top of his roof, and he was within seeing distance of the Himalayas, but because there was so much pollution, he couldn't see it. And all of a sudden, one day when COVID hit, the earth cleaned up, the air cleaned up, and he could see the Himalayas from his rooftop. Check that movie out. The Earth Changed. The Year Earth Changed.